But yeah, so the Conor and Dustin fight are happening next week, okay? I want to talk about this. I am so excited for this fight. I just want to start with that. I think that it's very up in the air who's going to win. I think as of right now, it's a mental thing. I think the reason that the first fight went the way it went was a mental thing. I think that people are not really looking at the way Conor was looking and acting before the fight. To me, he was off rhythm. He didn't look that comfortable. He didn't have a full crowd. And I think he was in his head. I think he really was in his head, honestly. And I think he's been in his head for a while. Of course. You have to be. You got tapped to fucking Khabib and then knocked out by Floyd. And the only other win you've had since then is money, family, things away from combat sports. And I understand he came back and fucked up Cowboy. That's a big deal. It meant something. But he's Conor fucking McGregor. It doesn't mean that much, I think. Didn't mean as much. It was a good warm-up fight. But I think COVID fucked up his rhythm. And I think it's just going to take him a second to get back into the ring. You know, ring rust is a real thing. And I think that was mostly why he lost. Because he underestimated those leg kicks. He wasn't experienced in today's new MMA or UFC or whatever. You know, leg kicks are not the way they used to be, which is above the knee. They're like right on the calf, right under the knee. So that shit is not the same as the leg kicks from the past that Conor, I think, is used to. I also think, like Brian said, Conor took a much more boxing approach with Dustin, and I don't think you can do that. I think Conor thought he was going to walk through Dustin boxing, and it just didn't happen. I think Dustin was underestimated. I don't think that'll happen again. I think Conor does very good and he did very good in his rematch with Nate. I wouldn't necessarily consider Conor Porier 2 a rematch, even though it was two completely different fighters in a sense. But I think that when you fight Poirier, you cannot just have one boxing style. You have to be perfect in all aspects of what you do. Brian in chat says, yeah, he needs to come back in with the Muay Thai stance to block the leg kicks. Absolutely. I think he just needs to keep the distance more and just respect the fight. That's all. I think that's really what it was. Is he was like, oh, these leg kicks ain't shit. And by the time they were something, it was done. You know, that's the only reason Conor lost that fight. He was winning the fight until he lost to those strikes. You know, there was like a flurry where Dustin leg kicked him, and it was like this very subtle, like he almost fell, like he got staggered. Like Conor got staggered real quick, and Dustin saw it, and he fucking went in. And at that point, you cannot block punches from a fucking elite striker like Dustin when you have no leg. You just cannot do it. It's overwhelming, and that's what happened to Conor. He was trying to stand. He was, you know, and that's why he lost. So, I think it's going to be a much closer fight. I think that if it doesn't end in the first round, halfway through the second round, it's going to be it's going to be a fucking dog fight. It's going to be wild, and it's going to be grueling, and I am ready for that. I really, really, really wish to see not like a fucking struggle fight between these two and prove, you know, who deserves that spot, because whoever wins this fight is going to fight Charles Oliveira. And I think they both do good in that fight, in Charles Oliveira fight. But I think Conor does better because of their styles. But we'll see. Brian in chat says, hey man, what happened to your boy Masvidal?